We are so fortunate to have such an esteemed group of panelists for panel 2. I'm going to ask you each to introduce yourself and what it is that you do.
Good afternoon. My name is Renee Hudson Small. I'm from Catholic Social Services in Philadelphia, and I oversee our Housing and Homeless Services Division as Assistant Director. I've been with Catholic Social Services in various capacities for about 30 years.
And my name is Sonia Navarro. I'm from the Northeast, from Catholic Social Services too. I've been there for 23 years, and I do pregnancy and parenting education.
My name is Danielle Monahan. I am the Deputy Director for Mary Shelter. I have been there for 22 years, and I oversee all client services, and that's outreach and residential services.
My name is Kathy Rowley. I'm from Genesis of Pittsburgh. I'm coming up on 12 years next month with Genesis, and I'm the residential director of the housing program.
Wonderful. I want to thank you ladies for being here with us today. Let's start with Renee Hudson. How many sites does Catholic Social Services in Philadelphia operate with your program?
With my particular program, I have 7 programs that I oversee in housing services. 2 of those programs house moms and children.
In what counties do they, they primarily Philadelphia or?
I have one program that is in Center City, Philadelphia. That is a drug and alcohol program for those that are in recovery, and moms with their children is one of the only programs that allow moms and children in the city for substance abuse. And then I have a program in the Kensington section of Philadelphia, which is unfortunately well known throughout the state and the city for the drug use in that area.
Can you, how many pregnancy and parenting support counselors are in your sites?
So I have, in the recovery house, I have 3 counselors, case managers, and in the permanent supportive housing program in Kensington, there's 2. And then we also work a great deal with our what we call family service centers, which are 3 in Philadelphia area. So we partner with within our system to also provide additional support services, and they also have pregnancy services.
What value do you see as being part of the Real Alternatives program?
Well, it's a great support for not only our counselors, but also for our families, being able to provide services that otherwise may not be available. One of the important things that I've always witnessed with the ladies, the moms, and the fathers that we work with is a lot of times they come with no supports, or they're undecided. They're not sure what they're going to do or how they're going to do it because they don't have that family support that some people may be accustomed to. In particular, in our recovery house, we have moms who maybe this is the first time they've been parenting sober. They may have other children, but this is the first time they parenting sober, and they're not sure that that's what they want to do because it's a difficult thing to be a mom and you're in the shelter. So a lot of times they're concerned about, should we move forward with this because it's a lot of pressure. I'm trying to focus on my recovery, and it's a difficult time for them. So being a support to them, Real Alternatives allows us to do that, to be a support, to provide that support services, to provide material assistance, to provide that extra counselor. So that's the positive for us.
You sort of addressed this, but besides the financial support the program provides, what other types of help do you receive to enable to serve your clients better?
With the material assistance that we're able to provide, diapers right now is a huge, burden on a lot of the ladies. It's just something that they cannot afford, not on a regular basis. I've had moms who keep diapers on their babies way longer than they should because they can't afford to purchase more. So they try to stretch it out as long as they can. So being able to receive assistance from Real Alternatives, we can purchase Pampers. We can give that as a support to the moms. Even with the parenting classes, we have classes for moms, even though they may not be first-time moms, they're first-time moms sober. So these parenting classes, Real Alternatives allows us to do parenting classes and pregnancy classes to help moms kind of work through what the stages are and what they're going to see and how that pregnancy is going to change them and how their body is going to change and just to be prepared for that delivery. In addition, it also is a great support. So you have camaraderie among the ladies because then they can talk about their pregnancy and what stages they're in. So it allows us to do that. Real Alternatives allows us to do that.
I always say there's no instruction manual to being a parent, right? And so you provide a little bit of that instruction manual to young women, and that's amazing. That's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and what you do as part of this instruction manual. So,
thank you for coming today and be willing to share a little bit about what you do and the services that you provide in your center in the Northeast Family Service Center with Catholic Social Services. So how long have you been a counselor in your program?
23
You
years.
said 23.
Yep.
The longevity that all of you have is quite impressive. I know you looked over at them and thinking like 12 years wasn't a lot, but I mean, that speaks volumes to the work that you do and just the passion and commitment that all of you have, so thank you. As a counselor, how do you initially build the rapport with your clients? Like, how do you get them to trust you and feel like you are the safe place to come and to talk and to receive services?
I think that the way that I introduce myself, like when they see me, they see this friendly face. A lot of the ladies that I deal with, they're Hispanic, and they feel like home to them, even if they're from any other country, but we all speak Spanish, so we're like a family. So I just feel when I always approach my clients according to what I see. Sometimes if you see somebody that is crying, you can be that fancy with them and say, oh, I come from here, there. No, what you can do, maybe embrace her and just talk, sweetie, what can I do for you right now? And then after that, all the other stuff, services and everything. So I always try to do that, and I feel like very successful in that because depending where they are, that's how I help them. If they're worried, concerned, sometimes you have to feed them first. And then they just kind of say, oh, what is this lady telling me about this program that I want to know about? And some others are really, I know the ones that just want all the nitty gritty. So I just kind of explain everything, how good the program is, the Real Alternative, the educational material that we get is fabulous. And we got, not too long ago, a lot of good material that I never had before, especially postpartum depression. And it's a great one because I've been using it, and a lot of moms are benefiting because now they know how to handle that they're not sick. They're just, going through a phase.
That's great. And building that relationship and connecting is huge. That's great that you're able to do that. How long has your program been working, or have you been using the Real Alternatives program?
Since day one, 23 years.
Wow.
So I came in as a little baby that Amy Stoner was the one that hired me. And being bilingual, I was able to be in 2 places
Right.
and be with different clients. So it has been an advantage for me. So it has been a good thing because depending who comes to me, I can deal with either one, English and Spanish. And now I do a little Portuguese. I started learning sign language because I get clients that do sign language. So I started learning a little bit.
Oh, that's fantastic. So tell us one of your stories.
Well, one of my stories just happened a week ago. And I said, I have to say that story because it even shocked me. I just came to the office because I'm located at the Northeast. That's my place. But I serve Maria de los Santos. It's a clinic. And I've been with that clinic for 23 years. So I started just on the waiting area with my little bags. And then carrying everything, I started to have a lot of problems. Then one day, I kept going to another place that they had. And At the third place that they just moved, the doctor said, we cannot see her anymore carrying those bags. We have to give her an office. So they gave me an office. So now I have the ladies that can come to my office. So as I was coming out of that office this week, this lady's sitting in the waiting area and she screamed. And you know, this day, somebody screamed, people start running. So she's screaming, I stop and I'm like, and the guard came out and they said, oh my God, something happened. And she said, you're still here? And I said, yeah. And she said, you have been here for 23 years. And I say, and how you know that? And she said, because you were my first teacher of my baby, because she was her first baby when she was pregnant. She was 19. And I met her 23 years ago. So she started to say, I cannot believe this is the best moment for me. And I said, why? And she said, because my daughter is 23. So that was the same daughter that I provided. And she said, you did so much for me. And you taught me how to be a good mother that as soon as my daughter came and she told me, Mom, I'm pregnant, I was so happy. And you came to my mind. I said, I wonder where's that lady, the lady that taught me so much. I hope that I could find her again. And the daughter said, who? She said, this lady, she took me from day one. I was so scared, especially because the father, the baby, wanted her to have an abortion. So when I saw her in the waiting area, that's why I said I take people wherever they are. I saw her and she had her head down and I could see that there was something worrisome about her. And I just approached her and she said, that approach that you did in that moment, you opened up, that I was able to tell them that my boyfriend wanted me to have an abortion. And I said to her, look, your body is your body and you can do whatever you want. But I have services that I can be your support. If you want to keep the baby, we have a program called Real Alternative and through Catholic Social Services. She said, oh, you're a Catholic agency. I said, well, I work with Catholic Social Services. She said, okay. So she started listening and she left. I told her it happened. She came back the next week and I was having a class with the group. And I said, you want to join us? And she said, yes, because I'm keeping my baby. I'm not keeping the father of the baby. And I said, okay. He's out of the picture. And to this day, she told me he never recognized the kid and never came back. But she had her those 23 years, and now she's bringing her, I think in 3 more weeks, she's coming for her first checkup. And she said, I definitely want you to be with her. So it was like I had a moment there, and I went back to my office. I'm like, oh. And I started crying because it really touched me 23 years later.
And it's those relationships and those that you have that, obviously is what keeps you there for 23 years. It is very rewarding.
Sometimes they test the phone because I still have the same number all these years. And they do call. And when I answer, they say, you're still there. Okay, can you help me? And I'm like, okay, here we are. So,
well, thank you so much, and thank you for
welcome.
sharing that story.
Next, we have Danielle Monahan, the Deputy Director of Mary's Shelter.
Yes.
Danielle, can you share with me, where is Mary's Shelter?
Reading Shelter, Mary Shelter is in Reading, Pennsylvania, in Berks County. And we actually took over a naval facility a few years ago. We've been in 6 days. It's our 27th year of operating. So we're truly excited. We're having an event on the 27th. And we took over a Naval Reserve Center in 2018, and it is 37,000 square feet of, an amazing facility that we do residential services.
So it's a maternity home.
It is a maternity home, yes.
Okay. Tell me about the unique needs of the women that come in.
So, and that's just it. Every woman that comes through our doors has a different situation. They come to us for unique reasons. Either they have been asked to leave by the boyfriend, and we also work with minors. So it could be their parents kicking them out of the house. It could be that they just, fell onto harder times and are trying to stabilize themselves. One of the things that we notice about our clients is our clients have either had some housing issues previously, they've been homeless, but now they're pregnant and they're looking for a safe place to go so that they can be a good parent to their child. So every woman that comes to us has already made a decision that they want to be able to parent their child. And they come to us with the goal that they want to stabilize. They want to work on getting their basic needs met, because we can't work with a woman unless we're already meeting their basic needs, which is housing and food and shelter and safety and a support system. Because a lot of our young women come to us with a minimal support system. Their support system is maybe a friend or two in the community, but not someone who can give them the services that they need to keep them safe. So they come to us with hopes that we're going to help them become stable, help them get back into school, come to us with that they'll have meals 3 times a day. There's no food insecurity, housing insecurity. They have a safe place to live where they're not in a situation where they have to live with somebody where it's a domestic abusive situation, where they're not in an emotionally abusive situation. They're not in a situation where they feel that they are imposition by somebody. They're sleeping on somebody's couch. They now have been able to move to a position where they're safe, and they have a group of individuals who care about them, who treat them compassionately, who absolutely are not there to judge them, but to help them move forward. And I think one of our greatest success is that we have 27 college graduates out of our program. They have master's degrees. Some of them have doctorates. They are moving on. They're homeowners, and now they are supporters of our agency. So when we're saying that we're giving them these opportunities to move forward, that is what we stand on. That is what my case managers do. That is what my support staff do. They are there to empower every woman that comes through that program. They are there to help them learn how to, get up at 3 a.m. and feed a baby, how to support them through those craziness that they don't have that support outside of our organization. And so residentially, they get all of those needs met for them.
You must see a great deal of security once they realize that they have a place to stay, they have food, they have loving people around them, a great deal of security.
So absolutely, because one of the things that we know is that once we start meeting somebody's basic needs, they begin to thrive. They begin to do things they never thought they would be able to do. Go back to school, get a high school diploma, get a GED, go to college, go to trade school, do something, become employable, and then be able to have their own apartment without any help from anybody else. They're able to manage that on their own and to also become the best parent they want to be on their own. And sometimes it's just giving them those basic needs to help them become more empowered and to also become strong enough to make really good decisions and to be an amazing parent and an amazing person in our community.
You're empowering them to move forward and to become responsible and people who are paying taxes and making a difference in the world themselves.
Absolutely.
That's wonderful.
I mean, and it's amazing to see that growth. Like when you first meet our residents, they come to us, and like I said, everybody's situation is a little bit more unique. There's one individual in particular, and I know I said that we were going to do a client, and her name was Liz. And Liz had come to us because she was in a domestic abuse situation and she was pregnant, and she had been looking for the strength to leave this situation for a long period of time. And getting pregnant was enough for her to be able to leave that situation. And she wasn't sure what she wanted to do, but she showed up at my building at 6:50 in the morning trying to figure out what the plan was going to be for her. She took a bus over there and she was like, I don't think I'm going to need your services, but I'm here anyway. We invited her in, we had some coffee, and we talked, and she moved in that same day. And Liz is absolutely doing amazing. I mean, we helped her get a PFA. We helped her, with some counseling to help her kind of learn what is a good relationship and what is not. Because I think it's important too. It's not it's not just building we're always involved in the pregnancy, but to have a healthy pregnancy and to have a healthy outcome is to help build a healthy parent. And that is really what we're there to do. And Liz, in the end, she ended up going back to school. She got a job, doing customer service for an energy company. She had the baby. She lives independently, and she is absolutely doing amazing and still stays in touch with us to this day.
That is wonderful. Terrific story. I think I probably know the answer to this, but what value do you think Real Alternatives brings to your maternity home?
I think they bring another element of transparency because there's a lot of oversight that we have to do the service. We bill for that service. And I also think their funding helps us support more women and children in the community. Right now, I can tell you that we have multiple programs. So we do the residential. We also have an outreach where we see outreach clients. And we see over 1,300 outreach clients every year. And with that funding, we're able to make sure that we never have to turn a woman away from that programming, because Real Alternatives helps us fund that. And it helps our counselors. They educate our counselors. They provide training for our counselors to be able to provide the best services. So when a woman's calling on the phone, they know what to say. There's no hesitation. They know how to answer that call. They know how to talk to somebody who calls to give them that calming effect when they're calling and they're in crisis and they don't know who else to talk to. They can, my counselors are very comfortable taking those phone calls and answering any questions that they have and providing them the proper guidance they need.
That's wonderful. Amazing story. Thank you for sharing. We really appreciate you being here.
Thank you for having me here today.
So Kathy, you told us 12 years that you have been the director there. So have you been a counselor with the Real Alternatives program the entire time that you've been a director at this Genesis?
Yes.
Okay.
When I first started in 2010, I was hired on as a counselor, and I did the evening shift. I sat with the women and helped them through learning how to cook a meal, just daily basic life skills. And then years later, it's 4 years now, I was promoted to the residential director, where I work during the day now. And we work with pregnant women who some have come in not sure if they wanted to continue with the pregnancy. One of the main things that I try to do is listen to see where they're at. Let them know the resources that we have available. Through Real Alternatives, we have gotten educational material. They have supplied us with the Ready or Not Tots, which I did bring one today. And that helps the women learn how to hold the baby, change the baby. The baby will cry. We ask the ladies, how did it make you feel? What were you doing at that time? So then we can actually see where do they need help in that process. I love what I do. I've established a great relationship with UPMC. They call, and a lot of my clients that come in now are suffering and trying to recover from drug addiction. So I work closely with the clinics in the area, the methadone clinics, West Penn, McGee. I was lucky enough, there was a counselor at McGee who I would deal with all the time when women would come in and pregnant and suffering from a drug addiction. She retired from McGee and she called Genesis because she was so impressed with our program. She is now a part-time employee. She started out volunteering and she's now a part-time employee to help offer her services. So it's amazing.
And you've all said they're all unique situations, and so the value you bring is truly just meeting them where they're at. And I think, you know, a lot of young women who are coming in with unexpected pregnancies, right? They're already there's already this self judgment that they're doing. So to be able to go into some place where they feel somebody's just listening to them and not casting judgment is just enormous. That's the biggest barrier that you're all breaking down, and that's absolutely amazing. So with the Real Alternatives program being utilized at Genesis, what does that funding allow you to do, and what would happen without that funding?
So the funding allows us, we have other centers where we have parenting classes, newborn care, CPR. We're able to give them the educational material so that they can be positive parents. We have a center that they earn baby bucks, is with like Monopoly money, when they do their classes. And they use those baby bucks, and we're able to give them diapers, wipes, baby clothes, baby furniture, all the way till the child's a year. So they can continue to come back. And without that funding, we would not be able to do that. If we lost Real Alternatives funding, that would mean the scope of the clients we serve would drop. The resources and the organizations that we work with, we'd lose. We'd have to probably close a center and have less staff. Like, it would really affect the way we help the clients.
Well, thank you very much for what you do. We're blessed. We truly are blessed for the services that you provide. Just you personally, as counselors, you know, thank you for what you do. It is absolutely amazing.
You give of yourselves. You give of yourselves, and you're changing lives. So thank you.
I think the clients change our lives too. I think that's important to know as well.
It's great.
Can I say one thing? One client told me not too long ago, it says, "You're here 23 years and you're still so happy and so jolly." And I said, because I have been coming here to serve, not just to work. I don't consider it a job. I consider it that I come here and I serve. And that's why every day I get up and I say, who am I going to serve today?
It's amazing.
We're amongst rock stars. They're all rock stars.
We are.
Rock
We
stars.
are.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.